Your brain requires sugar, your muscles require sugar, and so fruit actually improves your overall health. So eat whole fruits as opposed to processed sugar. It's going to be better for you.
Dr. William Li declares that fruits are far superior to processed sugar.
We all know that fruits are sweet. That's why I like fruits. I'm sure you as well. Nothing better than a juicy peach in the summertime or a delicious orange in the winter. Those are the seasons for these sweet, juicy fruits. And fruits do have sugar, but they are a lot better than processed sugar that you would actually find in a candy bar or a soda, or just adding sugar, for example, to coffee. So why is it that fruits are better than processed sugar, even though they're sweet? Well, it turns out the fruits are nutrient dense, and in addition to natural fructose, they also have natural bioactives like dietary fiber and polyphenols and micronutrients like vitamins and minerals. And all those things add up and they counter the potential issues related to sugar in the fruit. And by the way, your body needs sugar anyway. Your brain requires sugar, your muscles require sugar, and so fruit actually improves your overall health.
He asserts that apples can reduce inflammation and boost your metabolism.
Okay, now let me give you some examples of what nutrient dense actually means. So apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? Actually, it's about 2 apples that really start to give you the benefit. But what's in an apple? It turns out that apples can be very sweet, but apples also have chlorogenic acid in their flesh. Chlorogenic acid lowers inflammation and improves your metabolism by burning down harmful visceral fat. That's the fat packed inside the tube of your body that can be very inflammatory. Apples have that. Apples also have in their skin something called ursolic acid. Ursolic acid calls out stem cells from your bone marrow to help repair and regenerate your body from the inside out.
Dr. Li points out that oranges are full of dietary fiber and have tons of benefits.
All right, you don't get that actually from pure sugar. That's why an apple, a whole apple, is nutrient dense with all these other bioactives that can help your body repair itself. Here's another one. Oranges. Oranges are seasonal. The wintertime is the best time to get an orange. Now look, you can have orange juice, very sweet, but better yet, have the whole fruit. Oranges have dietary fiber, right? And if you have a slice of orange and you're eating it, you know that there's fiber in it. And it also has polyphenols like hesperidin and narogenin and a lot of vitamin C. And vitamin C is anti-inflammatory. Hesperidin and narogenin cuts off the blood supply feeding cancers. It's anti-angiogenic, helps to rein in harmful blood vessels. And the dietary fiber, well, it actually feeds the gut microbiome. So your gut microbiome will release acetate, propionate, butyrate. These are called short-chain fatty acids. And when they're fed dietary fiber from whole fruits, guess what? They actually lower inflammation. They pump up your immune system to defend against bacteria and viruses from outside of the body and to defend against invaders like cancer cells inside your body. What's not to like about that? All right, that's what you get from eating a whole orange. All right, let's take a look at some other fruits. Mango, very, very sweet, right? But mangoes actually have dietary fiber, a lot of fiber. And if you take a look at a mango, you'll see a lot of fiber. And it has a polyphenol called mangiferin. Mangoes, mangiferin, and mangiferin has anti-inflammatory properties. You don't get that from processed sugar, all right? Another one, pineapple, right? I love a ripe pineapple. Pineapples have dietary fiber and also a bioactive called bromelain. And bromelain is also anti-inflammatory. It boosts your immune system and it cuts off the blood supply to tumors as well. So eat whole fruits as opposed to processed sugar. It's going to be better for you. And by the way, talking about whole fruits, the whole fruit is also better than their juice. All right. Now, here's the thing. Let's look at orange juice, for example. If you had a tall glass of orange juice, you could slug that down. And you know how many oranges it takes to make one tall glass of orange juice? About 8 oranges. So 1 tall glass of orange juice has a sugar of about 8 oranges. So when you eat fruit, you don't want to eat too much. You want to be reasonable about it. And eating a whole fruit, a whole orange, you'll probably eat 1 orange and that'd be fine. And you'll take your time to eat it and you'll get all that dietary fiber. If you have a tall glass of orange juice, you'll be slugging down the sugar from 8 oranges all at once, right? And how many times have you been offered maybe a second glass of orange juice, or you're really, really thirsty and you want to slake your thirst with OJ? So eat the whole fruit, healthiest way to actually have fruit.
Studies show that eating lots of whole fruits can lower your risk of heart disease.
Now, clinical studies have also shown that a diet rich in whole fruits can reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. You don't see that with processed sugar, but you see that with eating whole fruits. In fact, a whole fruit diet can reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke, even limb ischemia, that's we're not getting blood flow to the legs, by about 10%. And it lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes by about 40+% in women especially. Whole fruits also improve metabolism, right? So all these polyphenols and dietary fiber activates your brown fat. Your brown fat is the healthy fat in your body that fights the harmful fat. This is fat versus fat. I actually write about this in my book, Eat to Beat Your Diet. I talk about how fat isn't all fat, or all fat isn't bad fat. In fact, there's good fat called brown fat, and the harmful fat is called white fat, visceral fat especially, wiggly jiggly. It's very easy to expand that, especially if you eat a lot of processed sugar. Brown fat is wafer thin, pressed around your neck, and it fires up through a process called thermogenesis. And when brown fat is activated in order to create that heat, you know what it does? It draws down the fuel from your harmful visceral fat. Good fat burns down harmful fat. And so this is how whole fruits, many whole fruits and their bioactives can actually be helpful for your body and lower inflammation as well. Now, many whole fruits also have bioactives that are cancer fighting. And in fact, there's been shown that eating whole fruits of a variety of types can lower risk of many kinds of cancer, lung cancer, colorectal cancer, breast cancer, all beneficial. Why? Because some of these polyphenols boost the immune system. They cut off the blood supply feeding cancer, and the dietary fiber feeds your gut microbiome. Absolutely critical for good health.
Your immune system is a silent warrior, battling cancer every day.
And a good, well-fed microbiome, gut bacteria also boosts your immune system. What does your immune system do? It conducts surveillance, looking to the right, looking to the left, for any tiny little microscopic cancer cells to wipe out. And if you actually have cancer and you're battling cancer, one of the things you should know is good, strong immunity helps tip the odds in your favor. Now, how many times have you heard that cancer patients shouldn't eat fruit because of the sweetness? I'm telling you that for most cancer patients, eating fruit's just fine. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm giving you common sense, because you're getting nutrient-dense foods that have dietary fiber and polyphenols that lower inflammation, boost immunity, and all these are factors that are very important to elevate your body's own health defenses against diseases, including cancer. Now, what about some tips for eating fruit? Well, eat local and eat seasonal is what I would actually say. Springtime, summertime, fall, winter. There's fruits that come out every single season. You can look them up on the internet to find out what's out there. But if you go to a farmer's market, you'll usually see the seasonal fruits that are being grown around you and are actually going to be at their peak. So eat seasonally when it comes to fruits is the best way. What if you actually can't get seasonal fruits? No problem, because frozen fruits actually maintain their benefits. Okay, and they're going to taste sweet as well. They're going to taste really good, and you can use frozen fruits to make a smoothie. But I can tell you, when they pick a fruit that's frozen, they pick it off fresh, off the tree, off the plant, and they flash freeze it, so they locks in all those dietary polyphenols as well as the fiber. And so you can go into the frozen section and get frozen fruit, and it's every bit as good as the fresh. Okay, now what about organic? I will tell you, getting organic fruits, even though they're a little bit more expensive, are going to be better because they're going to have more of those polyphenols. And I'll explain in another video why that actually is. So some little tips. One more tip I want to give you. When you get fruit and you take it home, you want to actually wash it, all right? Because guess what? The fruit might have been on the ground, touching other fruits. You don't know what's on it. And how do you actually wash a fruit properly? Take that fruit and put it under running cold water for 60 seconds. Got a lot of them? Put them in a colander, or if you want to put them into a bowl and just let running water go in there and just keep the water flowing so you can actually get the fruits rinsed off. 60 seconds, cold running water, best way to wash off the fruit. Sometimes it's impossible to wash the pesticides off the skin of a fruit, so organic is always going to be better. Less pesticides, more bioactives. These are just some tips of actually how to get the most out of whole fruits that are better than processed sugar.
Green tea is a powerful ally, shown to lower the risk of colon cancer.
Now, green tea contains catechins that have been shown to lower the risk of colon cancer, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, cancers of the gut, actually, because you're sipping the green tea and it's flowing down and touching your entire GI tract. Now, what's in green tea? Something called catechins, specifically EGCG. All right, Edward George, Charlie George. And this is actually something that I've studied. I'm a researcher. I have actually studied food as medicine in the lab, specifically green tea. And I can tell you that this is a natural chemical found in tea leaves that when you brew a cup of tea, the EGCG comes out into the liquid. So whether you actually have tea bags, you have loose tea leaves, or you have some powdered tea, which is another form of getting it. And whether it is green tea, whether it's matcha, you're all getting this catechin into your system. So what does EGCG do in the body? Well, something quite amazing. Drinking tea has been shown by cancer researchers to lower inflammation, which is, of course, one of the drivers for cancer. Green tea also boosts the immune system. Now, we all have cancers growing inside our body. It's a natural part of being alive. When our cells divide, they make mistakes, and each of those tiny little mistakes is a microscopic cancer. But our immune system wings by, finds that microscopic cancer, and takes it out like a sniper. And so good, strong immunity is actually cancer fighting, and green tea actually does that as well.
The catechins in green tea work to cut off the blood supply to tumors.
But the thing that I think is most remarkable is that the catechins found in green tea cut off the blood supply to tumors. Now, all tumors are harmless until they actually get a blood supply. And this is a process called tumor angiogenesis. Now, our normal cells, our normal tissues have angiogenesis. We need them in order to be able to heal our wounds. But tumors hijack this process. Okay, and they actually feed themselves to get oxygen and nutrients. And when a cancer actually does that, that is actually what allows tumors to actually grow wildly. In fact, studies in the lab have shown that without a blood supply, tumors can't grow beyond about 2 millimeters in diameter. That's the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen. But the moment blood vessels can actually grow up and touch that tumor and feed it, that tumor can grow 16,000 times in just 2 weeks' time, all right? So angiogenesis, which is normal for healing, good for our body, when tumors hijack it, the oxygen and nutrients allow the cancer to explode in growth. So tea, containing the catechins, cuts off the blood supply, prevents tumor angiogenesis, and that is one of the most powerful and important ways that green tea can actually be beneficial. Now, I like to drink green tea every day. In fact, I have a cup of it right here, walk to walk, and I find it really relaxing. I drink green tea all throughout the day, especially in the evening.
Green tea offers remarkable anti-cancer benefits.
But green tea actually is something that goes back tens of thousands of years. If you look at Asia, tea plants naturally grew there, and they are hand-picked. They are dried under the sun. They are lightly roasted over fire, and then the process takes off in order to be able to convert them into different types of tea. You mix them with jasmine flowers for jasmine tea. You grind it into a powder to make matcha. You roast it deeper in order to be able to create black teas, which are also beneficial for your health, by the way. Not just green, but black is also good. Somewhere in between is oolong tea, which is kind of a medium tea. And then you can ferment tea. It's called pu'er, beautiful tea. But let's stick with green tea for a second. Green tea has these anti-cancer benefits. So one of the questions is how do you actually make the green tea, and how much should you drink? Well, listen, I like using loose leaf tea. You can actually brew it in a pot with hot water. Don't ever drink a tea with boiling water you just put in there. That scalding liquid has been shown to increase the risk of cancer because you're injuring the esophagus. So do not do that. Let the tea cool down. And actually, it takes that time of cooling down to also steep out the catechins. That's a little tip for you. And if you're using a tea bag, you want to dunk the tea bag, all right, in order to be able to shake out those catechins into the liquid. When it actually is cool enough to be able to sip comfortably, then sip it. 2 to 3 cups of tea a day actually has been shown to be beneficial for many different types of conditions. But the most important thing that I like is that it tastes great and it's actually relaxing, okay? Next food we're gonna talk about is brassica. Brassica is a type of vegetable. It's a group of vegetables and contains broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy. It's a green vegetable that you can saute, common in many different types of cultures. You find it in Mediterranean, you find it in Asia. And what's actually in these brassica vegetables are sulforaphanes. These are another natural chemical. And these sulforaphanes, what do? They boost the immune system, right? Good, strong immune system, knocks out microscopic cancers, also lowers inflammation. Inflammation is like the gasoline on a fire, making the cancer grow hotter and faster. When you actually calm inflammation, you're putting out the fire, all right? And actually that is very helpful when you want to fight cancer. The other thing that the brassica does, it actually contains the sulforaphanes that actually are anti-angiogenic. They starve the cancer by cutting off the blood supply. And this has also been shown with broccoli, for example. Now, here's something really interesting. This is a pro tip. The grown-up broccoli is not just the treetops. That's what we used to always eat when I was a kid. Your mom always told you, eat those treetops. Okay, and the treetops do have the sulforaphanes, but it turns out that the stalk, the long stem of a broccoli is actually mostly a stem. It's like a whole tree with some treetops on it. The treetops have the sulforaphane, but the stalk has twice as much of the good stuff. So if you're actually cooking broccoli, cook the treetops, the florets is what they call them, but also save that stem. If you slice it at a diagonal and saute it, absolutely delicious. You'll find it in a lot of Asian dishes that way. If you don't want to saute it, you can actually just put it into a food processor and make a broccoli soup. You want to add a little oregano in there. It really makes a broccoli oregano soup is actually absolutely delicious. I actually included that broccoli oregano soup recipe in my book, Eat to Beat Disease, if you're actually interested in it. Okay, so broccoli, cancer fighting.
Dr. Lee highlights that papaya can actually reduce the risk of lung cancer.
The next food we're going to talk about is papaya. Now, most people don't think about papaya as a cancer-fighting food, but this is actually sort of an oblong football-sized and kind of oval-shaped fruit, tropical. When you cut it open, when it's ripe, it's actually bright orange inside with little black seeds. You scoop out the seeds, and the flesh, when it's ripe, is absolutely delicious. You can just eat it up with a spoon, slice it up, put it onto a plate, and just have it for breakfast, have it after dinner for a dessert. Absolutely delicious. Now, papaya has been shown to actually lower the risk of lung cancer. Now, why is that? Well, that red color in papaya contains carotenoids, something called beta-cryptoxanthin and beta-carotene, and these actually are also anti-inflammatory, and you guessed it by now, you get the drift, it's actually anti-angiogenic as well. All right, so we went through tea, we went through broccoli, brassica, and now we're on to papaya. I love to have papaya for breakfast. It's a great way to get some fruit. It's not very sweet, which is an advantage if you need to watch the amount of sugar you eat. And speaking of sugar, sugar and fruit is perfectly fine for most people. All right, don't eat too much of it, eat a reasonable amount of it, and the whole fruit is always going to be easier on your metabolism because it has less sugar in it than having the juice. So I always recommend having papaya fruit as opposed to papaya juice if you're going to actually enjoy papaya. All right, and most places actually have papaya. You don't have to go to the tropics, although wonderful to be there. And if you go to tropical countries, do look for papaya, but you can actually find it at the grocery store. By the way, frozen papaya chunks are also really good as well. The frozen chunks, they actually trap all those bioactives, so perfectly fine. Cancer-starving, anti-inflammatory.
Purple potatoes, with their unique properties, can also cut off the blood supply to tumors.
All right, next food we're going to talk about are purple potatoes. If you haven't seen a purple potato, it is a beautiful potato. Regular potatoes, kind of brown, dirty looking. Purple potato, you could tell even from the outside, there's something interesting because it's purplish on the outside, but when you cut it in half and hold it open, man, that is a beautiful purple color, and the purple comes from a natural dye called anthocyanin. Anthocyanins are bioactives, and these bioactives, you guessed it, lower inflammation, they cut off the blood supply to tumors, anti-angiogenic against tumors, cuts off the blood supply feeding cancers. And there's one additional thing that I think is absolutely brilliant about purple potatoes, and the research that has been done on them in a lab, is that purple potatoes actually have been shown to cancer stem cells. Now, cancers are just an abnormal mass of cells, but when they keep on coming back, they need their own stem cells to regenerate themselves. You know, when a cancer patient actually has their tumor removed by surgery, treated by chemo or radiation, and you're done, right, for 5 years, but sometimes they come back. Well, the reason those cancer cells come back is because of their stem cells. That cancer figures out how to resurrect itself. And so purple potatoes actually have been shown to colon cancer stem cells. What an amazing thing. Plus, a beautiful food to boot. Now, by the way, if you actually cook purple potatoes, steam them, saute them, bake them, do it however you like. You can make a purple potato soup. I have a recipe for purple potato gnocchi in my first book. Absolutely beautiful. If you want to actually make it even better for your gut microbiome, all right, because there's fiber in potato, you actually put it in the fridge, turns into resistant starch, easier to digest, and also helps your gut microbiome become healthier. So purple potatoes, check them out. Pomegranates, speaking about purplish, reddish foods, the pomegranate, also a tropical fruit, although you can find them in most grocery stores now. They are kind of like a big apple with a thick skin and a little bit of a crown at the very top. They're heavy. And you know why they're heavy? Because they're filled with seeds that around every seed is a little bit of liquid, and that's pomegranate juice. Now, these seeds and pomegranate juice are packed with bioactives. These are naturally occurring chemicals that give foods their biological punch. Okay, this is what you eat to beat disease. Are these foods with these bioactives, and in pomegranate, they're called elagitannins. Now, elagitannins also help to give the bite, the kind of acidity, and also contribute to the color.